Hey, it's Jason here with ZeroToTravel.com. A very short announcement for you. I wouldn't call this an episode, just a quick announcement for all of you wonderful souls out there in the listening community. You may have noticed that over the past months during the course of this year, we have been publishing Thursday episodes, and they have been along a theme. So in February, we did a travel jobs theme. In March, we had inspiring female adventurers. In April, we focused on conscious and sustainable travel. And now that we've hit May, it's time to announce this month's theme. And my producer, Caitlin, and I, we thought, well, what better theme than to do something around mental health awareness? It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so you're going to see a few episodes go out this month, some of the best from the archives around staying stress-free when you travel, also somebody that used travel to help with their mental health, to help with their anxiety, and things like this. And I just wanted to bring attention to this as you see these episodes drop. If you are somebody who thinks you might need some help with your mental health, please get that help. I'm just here to encourage you to do that. We've all struggled at times, some in different ways, some in more challenging ways, and there are resources there for you. And I'm so appreciative as I dove into the history of Mental Health Awareness Month. It turns out, it's a fascinating story. So this started with a man by the name of Clifford W. Beers. Just a quick warning, I am going to mention suicide in a moment here. Well, Clifford was born in 1876, and after his brother died, he did throw himself out of a third-story window, tried to commit suicide, did not succeed, fortunately for everybody now. And he was in and out of mental institutions, and he had these, I don't know how you would describe them, these horrible experiences of abuse in these institutions. As you probably know, way back then, they did things a lot differently, to say the least. And he ended up writing this book called A Mind That Found Itself. I'll read you a little snippet of it and what it's about from the Amazon description. It is, quote, a classic account of the ravages of mental illness and a major American biography. A Mind That Found Itself tells the story of a young man who is gradually enveloped by a psychosis. His well-meaning family commits him to a series of mental hospitals, but he is brutalized by the treatment, and his moments of fleeting sanity become fewer and fewer. His ultimate recovery is a triumph of the human spirit, end quote. I mean, truly, to come out from that situation and then to go on and say, hey, this whole system needs to be reformed. This needs to be fixed. And that's what he set about doing. So according to Wikipedia, in 1908, he founded the Connecticut Society for Mental Hygiene, now named Mental Health Connecticut. And then in 1909, he founded the National Committee for Mental Hygiene, which was renamed the National Mental Health Association, now named Mental Health America, which is the organization that started Mental Health Awareness Month. So there you go. There's the history traced back. And if you think about how far we have come, a lot of us weren't alive back in those days, but we know that generally speaking, mental health has become, or should say, has gone from maybe being like a taboo subject or something that people really aren't sure how to talk about, maybe with each other, with family members, to doctors. Obviously it was very dangerous if you said you had mental health problems. You ended up in an institution. Look at the types of things that could happen if you ended up there. To now a society where it's, you could say, more than ever acceptable to talk about your struggles with mental health, to be open with them. People talk about it openly. And I think all of this started as a movement right here. You could say this was the seed of this movement. This one person who had all these struggles, then came out, wrote this autobiography, and now it's led to these organizations. And now there's, of course, mental health organizations, all over the world. And I don't, have on tap the history of all of them. But, having done the research, a little bit of research on the Mental Health Awareness Month and where it started, I can see that this, you could say, is the seed planted, one of the big seeds that has led to where we are today. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to share that story with you. And I find it inspiring how one person can act as the catalyst for reform, for big change. And I'm glad he did. So that's why you're going to hear some episodes for Mental Health Awareness Month. I just wanted to make a quick announcement there and let you know also just about the previous months. I haven't done this announcement for each of those months. So if you go back and you're like, oh, I'm interested in travel jobs, I'm interested in those different themes you mentioned, you can find all of those in the feed. And yeah, working on some more themes coming up here for the rest of the year. So be sure to subscribe to the show. And if you want to hear more things like this, like you could say this isn't really travel related, sure. But I write about a lot of things on the newsletter. If you go to zerototravel.com/newsletter, you can sign up for free. This would be a perfect example of a topic that maybe is not directly travel related, but I might write about it in the newsletter. So if you're interested in that type of content, you can subscribe over there for free. If you haven't done that, please go ahead and do it now. And I also want to thank you for being a listener, for being a part of this community. And one last call to action here as I let you go about your day. Again, never be afraid to get help if you think you need it. It's hugely helpful to have somebody to talk to. I've had people to talk to in the past and professionals. And, you know, there are times in life when we need that kind of help. And so don't be afraid to go get it if you think this is one of those times for you and you need it. I will link up to some of that history there on the website, Mental Health America, which is mhanational.org. If you go to mhanational.org/our-history, you can read about the history. And on the homepage, they have a mental health month toolkit available. And yeah, a bunch of stuff that you can use for yourself, resources, tools, and things like that. So check them out. And thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time. Peace and love to you and yours. Cheers.
This podcast has been brought to you by zerototravel.com. Ideas and advice to make your travel dreams a reality.